This is Jackie.
And this is Heather.
And
welcome to Millennial Mom Chatter, your go-to podcast for candid conversations and fresh perspectives.
We're just two millennial moms navigating life one hilarious audio message at a time. Join us for laughs, adventures, and real talk.
Hi, friend.
Yay! More podcasting.
Woo, 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 woo. We're coming in with two different vibes. I came in with I got my hair did yesterday, and it was easy to slip on a dress, and she looks so cute in her, 80s mom.
Well, I came from the gym, so you're
That's
lucky.
what I'm saying. This is like DJ Tanner in the gym when she's trying to lose weight, with the little scrunchie.
Got my scrunchie and my high pony. Yeah, but I feel like your hair looks so good. This is so perfect for spring and summer. Got nice and bright again. Very pretty.
Yes,
and I
need a
love
little
this
bit of
bright colored dress. You guys need to hop on YouTube so that you can see the in-person version of our podcast episodes because Heather's be looking cute today.
I know. Thank you. I've been trying to do good about... Jackie's trying to influence me to do brighter colors.
Yes.
My other friend Karina's trying to she sent me this whole what did I call
The
it?
color theory?
This is what colors look good on you. I thought it was a scam when she sent it to me because it was hi, it was this weird pre-written thing that sounded like I was like, did somebody take hold of her phone? What is this? And then I looked and she's like, I picked your skin tone. These are your colors for the summer and spring. I was like, okay.
It's totally a thing. And honestly, it's so funny for listeners at home. When you walk into Heather's closet, she's got all of your essential, your nudes and your very neutral colors. So she loves the blacks and the browns, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you walk into my closet, it's literally a rainbow of every single color. And so then now I love seeing all these colors on you because you look so good. Blondes can wear colors. And I think a lot of people you don't, until you try it out and you see what it looks like in the daylight, in the mirror, when you're inside your house, it's fun. So I love seeing this on you.
I wear black to let you shine.
But today I'm actually in a little more of a I don't know, it's like a muted blue. So I'm leaning back from the brights. It looks gray.
I would swear you're wearing gray.
Yeah, I think it's because of the lighting. It's a little aggressive right now.
I was like, surely you're wearing a gray shirt. Or a white-ish shirt.
Yeah, it does look different.
How are you doing though?
I'm good. Just got back from the gym. Just trying to be working on my fitness all the time.
I know.
All
you're
day,
doing
every
Pilates.
day. Yes. So we just started
a Pilates instructor.
Yeah, we're doing all the things. It's just currently in this chapter of my life as a military spouse, it's hard to kind of hold down. And same for Heather as well, being a firefighter spouse. It's hard to hold a normal 9 to 5 when we also are the ones that are holding down the I'm single parenting right now. My husband's gone, and your husband's gone pretty frequently too for overnights and stuff. So there's no who's getting the kids, who's taking them to their dentist appointments and soccer practices. So we kind of have to have those odds and ends jobs that we can kind of squeeze in throughout the day when they're at school. So embracing this chapter of my life. One day I'll put my big girl pants on and have a nice corporate job.
Will we though?
I don't know. We'll see. I say that.
I always think that too, and then I think that by the time that happens, Alvaro's retiring, and then he's not going to be working, so then he's going to be why are you working?
Yeah, I don't want to have to rely on that schedule to go on vacations and live my life with you. Yeah.
So I really kind of feel like we probably won't, but our mom guilt in us and wanting to provide for our family will fight that so hard and be no, we're going to do it one day.
100%. Yes.
Because moms, stay-at-home moms, number one, it's not as easy as people think. And number two, there's just so much guilt.
Yes.
There's this, and the worst is even when you start to feel really good about this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's where you're supposed to be, right? There's no doubt in my mind. And I know there's no doubt in your mind. But then the second somebody asks you is oh, what do you do for work? It's
take care of my kids.
You're I stay at home.
Yeah.
And then you can immediately feel people say people don't judge. I would say majority of people judge. You can
I
feel
think
it.
so
you can
too.
see it.
Yeah.
And every mom that stays home will have the same story.
Yeah.
That immediately it feels like you can't tell them because they're gonna judge. And even if their judgment isn't straight out judgment, oh, you don't work? Right? Not like that.
Yeah.
But they're oh, I wish I could stay
Yes,
home.
like
And
it's a privilege.
Immediate,
Yeah.
and it's immediately like, it's like, yes, it is a privilege. It's great that I can stay home for our kids.
Yep.
It is. But they say it with like, it's like their nice dig.
Yes, I agree. It does kind of feel like that, where it's like, oh, like, oh, good for you. Like, and it's just like, okay, like, never mind. Let's change
It
subjects.
must be
Like,
nice.
yeah. Like, I'm just like, okay.
And then it's hard because obviously it's hard being it's hard working and doing all the things.
Of course.
But it's also like, I don't know if one's harder or not, because it's very like the fact that moms don't like get to go out in the world and like hang out with people. Like, even though it's your work people, you're still like having lunch with them and like talking and having adult chat. And like, sometimes I don't talk to an adult in the whole day.
Yes.
Like,
No, and that's the thing. I think a lot of whenever you see interviews and like breakdowns of stay-at-home moms versus working moms, they always say that. They're like, both are hard, both have their challenges and their pros and cons. And then they do say that like the working moms have their own identity, which we don't get as stay-at-home moms. We never get to break that mold. We're constantly just in mom housewife mode. And so I feel like what sounds nice in my current chapter is the working moms who have that identity. Like you said, interacting with other adults, the like being able to take that hat off and just being able to kind of like separate that and have
bring in income.
Yeah, being like a functioning part of the family. Like, I don't know. It's just really challenging. And I feel like we could talk about it for hours. And a lot of moms might actually agree with that. And it's just something that we kind of have to navigate with our partners, like, as it comes. So,
no, for sure. It's a struggle every day. I was like, why are you always trying to look for a job? I'm like, I just need to help.
I know. And it sounds nice, right? Like whenever you see like a listing, you're like, oh, I could do this. Like, this sounds really great. And then as soon as you like sit to look at the schedule and you're like, but wait, who's taking the kids? What about this? Because then they're the ones
dropping them off.
Yeah, they're the ones now that are hurt by it, or like something is taken away from them by me being gone, or them having to be in aftercare all day long. So I'm just like, oh,
yeah, it breaks my heart to see. I know that the kids are fine,
of course,
and it's okay. Like, if a parents have to do this because both parents have to have a job, it's no fault on you. No, like not guilting you at all. But I'm like, if I can financially be there for those performances and be there to pick them up, so they're not like, it breaks my heart to see the kids sometimes in aftercare like 5:45 and it's dark outside and I'm like they literally go home, eat, and they go to bed, like and then they do it all over again, and it's just like this cycle. And I'm like, if I can and have the blessing to be able to do that, then I'm going to choose.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. And I think the kids, you can tell they appreciate it. Like, they're always like, oh, like, I like it when you come on my field trips with me, or that you can take me to activities after school. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm doing the right thing for our family at this stage of life. Like, this feels good.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But how are you doing though?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yesterday I just spent all day like sitting. I went to my hair appointment. Obviously, I sat for the hair. Yeah. Then I had to have my eyebrow appointment, but it was like that timing where I couldn't go home because if I went home, I would just be coming back. So I sat and waited. And then I had to go to school because I got there early. So I sat and waited. So a lot of waiting, but it was good. It was good. I actually found out. So there was like this 18-year-old Gen Z girl at the salon. And she looks like Gracie Abrams.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, like she looked really cute.
Yeah.
She was like,
I like
very
it.
cute.
I can
very
envision
Gen
this
Z.
girl. Yeah, for sure.
And did you know? Maybe I'm like could be so new to this. Do you know that she's the daughter of J.J. Abrams?
No, I did not know that. And now
like,
I feel
the one that like does Star Wars, and like Transformers and Lost, and like he is the one who directs all of that.
Yeah, but I also could like spiral on this though, that like, are we shocked that anyone is ever the child, niece, nephew, or cousin of a major celebrity or famous person? Because it's a bunch of nepotism in Hollywood now. Like, is anyone just a standalone artist anymore? Do those exist today?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Hilary Duff.
Yeah, maybe. We actually should research that before we commit to that idea. She might know someone. There's like an uncle somewhere.
That's our girl.
I know. I want to believe that she like broke out into stardom all on her own.
I think she
like a Mickey Mouse Club thing,
like one of those like casting events when she was really young.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the same for like a lot of that generation.
Yeah,
like a lot of those pop artists we had were found and not brought in by aunts and uncles
But the good
and moms
thing
and dads.
is I'm like, that's kind of just, I mean, I'm not a like huge Gracie Abrams fan. Like I like her music and I like that she writes her own music and I like that she plays her own music. Like she is talented. So I like that about her. But when I found that, I was like, oh dang, I thought she was like the struggling artist.
Yeah.
Like she finally made
she made it big. Good for her. Get it,
she's
girl.
over there like in
no longer a starving
$30
artist.
million mansion growing up.
Already had a great lifestyle growing up.
But I will say, despite everything, she's very talented. So
no, that's true.
Because sometimes people like come up through and like you're like they are famous because they know somebody or their dad is this, but they suck.
Yes.
Like they're at least she has the talent for it. But also, we're gonna like this is like a very quick question, because I was like I forgot that like I guess I've been in my own a little bit of like Christianity bubble that. She was telling me, I don't know how we got on this topic, but we were all talking about it, that she believes in predestination. So like that God has chosen, like when he made you, he has chosen you whether you go to heaven or hell. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that concept. And like, not to hate on people that believe in that, but like in my mind, I'm like, that is not the God I serve. Like I serve a God that like made us in his image and gave us the choice whether to be like want to have a relationship with him. But like he paid the price for us at the very beginning and wants to have a relationship with every single person. So I was like, dang, I don't think I've ever talked about this with Jackie. So like, do you have one where like, does that also like, do you believe the same things I believe? Or do you think that there's a possibility for predestination?
I was raised thinking the same way as you, where like God made this sacrifice for us to therefore have,
and for everyone.
Yeah, everyone, not just us. Yeah. For all people then to like make that choice, and either you're going to be a good person or a bad person, but you could then go where he has designed for
everyone
us to
has
go.
a possibility, right?
Yeah. As long as you're a good person, you can totally go to heaven. So that is very different. And I also, like you, I kind of forget that like there are other opportunities out there. And I'm just like, interesting. And you said she's 18 and is she a religion that's been passed down through her family? Like she goes with her parents?
Yeah, so she's Christian. Okay. And I'm pretty sure it's I think Presbyterian.
Okay.
Just believe that like primarily.
Yeah.
So they're normal. Like they still believe like
pretty
much everything we do.
Yeah.
That's just like an area and I forgot about that. I remember like touching base on that when I was younger. And I forgot that like there's people that believe that. I just don't think it's something we chat about with people.
No.
Because how she described it is like we choose him because he already chose us.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, but he chose everyone. Like he wants everyone. Like that's like, why would he form somebody in his own image to send them to hell?
Yes. Yeah. So I'd be
Like,
really curious. This almost makes me want to like do like a deep dive
Research
with
it.
like theology and stuff to kind of see then like where, like how is that decision made then? Like, or how does he predetermine who and who isn't? Like, so I feel like there's a lot with that. And it is interesting because it's not a common conversation that we typically have when you're chatting with, you know, new friends and stuff. So that's very interesting. And also just because she's younger too. So that's why I was kind of curious if it was something where like she was obviously brought up in this church. So therefore,
I'm sure,
that's
she's always brought up in that church, and I'm sure it's something that she like, you know, believes.
Yeah.
Maybe she won't believe in that later. Maybe she will. I don't know. But I thought I was like, dang, I haven't heard that in so long.
Yeah.
Like it's been a long time since I've heard that.
Yeah. No, very
Probably
different
like
perspective.
early teens.
Yeah. I want to dive deeper into
Research
that.
it.
Yeah. Because it's just so interesting. Kind of like, I just want to know how. Then like, how is that choice
Or
made?
like why?
Oh yeah, why?
And like I said, that's not to like hate on people that believe that.
Oh, of course
like, that's fine if you believe that. I just like, I think of like the God I serve would not make someone in his image to like perish, to go to hell.
Yeah. Like
to
we
suffer,
want to
like,
believe that then he wants everyone to have that opportunity where it's like, but I want you guys all to go to a nice place. Like, I don't want you to be obviously chosen to then go to the, you know, underworld. Like I want that for everyone. So I'm just like, oh,
exactly.
how
Like
interesting.
Celine, my hairdresser, she's like, see, I think of it very much like a mom and a child, or dad and a child, right? You can think of father and son, where it's like we want them to do the best. We want to raise them up to like make the right choices, to be the best adult they can be, to have a relationship with us, right? But like as your kid gets to an adult, they could choose not
of course
to have that relationship with you. Like they could literally choose to like leave you in the dust and be like, I don't really want to have anything to do with you. And she's like, I see God and us like that. Like God wants everyone to succeed, wants everyone to have a relationship with him and everyone to go to heaven. But at the end of the day, like if you're going to deny and not choose him, then like that's where, so I just personally don't believe in predestination.
Yeah, but that's a good perspective, what she offered, to compare it to like a father and a son, like just to kind of, he's always going to want the best for us. So regardless of what you choose as an adult, he's going to still want he already created this path for you and he wants you to follow it. And if you choose not to, that's your own choice. So,
and you think of people that are like, you know, have murdered people in the past and like that, like turn to him and get saved. And like, I believe in that. Like, I don't know if I would be like, God chose you and you're going to heaven, but then you murdered somebody. Like meaning like he specifically chose you to go to heaven over Joe Schmo. I don't even know. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. And this person murdered somebody, but you chose them to go to heaven and like you destined him. And then this person over here that's like hasn't murdered anybody, it might be a little bit better. Like you destined him to go to hell. To me, I'm just like, that doesn't,
I know.
like,
it sounds like a faulty plan, like in my mind, just from our upbringing where it's like, oh, like that doesn't seem right. Like how is he making that choice?
Yeah. So anyways, it didn't need to be a deep conversation. I was just like, wow, like I haven't heard that like topic in so long. And I like, you forget that people like, you know, that even within Christianity, we believe wildly different things.
For sure. Yep.
So
wild.
Well, on to Gen Z.
Yeah. Oh, Casey Abrams.
since she's a Gen Zer. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we saw this. We actually haven't listened to the podcast. We really need to. We're very intrigued now.
Yes.
So there is this podcast with Dax Shepard. I don't know what his podcast is called. Is it just Dax Shepard?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, guys, if you want to listen to this podcast, just look up Dax Shepard's podcast and Jonathan Hadt. It's Haidt. Hadt. I think that's how you say it.
Sounds right.
We're going to go with it. Okay?
Yeah.
I saw this like quick reel and I was like, oh, this is juicy. This is all me and Jackie. So we talk about, actually, you wrote them down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So we got some stats, what he shared. So this is what Jonathan had shared with Dax, and that their conversation kind of evolved from this. But just to back this up, he is a social psychologist. So he does have a background in this. So we felt like this was going to be like some juicy studied stuff that we felt like we could definitely chat about.
So Dax Shepard talks about how he's like, I didn't listen to the podcast yet, guys. I actually just found this recently, so like I didn't have time to do it. But we're going to chat about it without listening. Yes. Yeah. So basically, Dax Shepard's talking to the psychologist like Gen Z has improved on so many like self-destructive stats compared to millennials. So Gen Z teen pregnancy is down 78%.
Wild.
It says that of drinking age, only 18% of Gen Z is drinking. And a third, which we actually back this up with another stat, even says more. It says 47% of Gen Zers within drinking age haven't even tried alcohol.
Yeah. So the reason, so that's like a good point to make, is because what we realized too is there are Gen Zers who are not of drinking age yet. So that's why we liked that broke it down a little bit. Yeah. So it's still a very small chunk. So of who is drinking age is still not drinking. So that was kind of cool to see.
And then, which also, it could be both. It could be they're not drinking at all, or it could be they're being like, you know, smoking weed or
California sober.
They're like doing drugs and stuff. Yeah. There are more frugal. I don't have a stat on that, but I do notice that in like majority of Gen Z as a whole. Yeah. They're like, because they're really into like the older clothes and finding vintage, so they're like, they love doing the like Goodwill trips and finding their jeans, I hear. So like they're definitely more frugal, I find, and that they are just making like healthier choices like from the very beginning of like food and all that kind of stuff. Like when I was like 19, 20, like I literally didn't care what I was eating.
No, absolutely not. We loved us some like fast food, convenience, energy drinks, sodas, all the things. Like
I'm thinking like when I would chug those like, you know, sugar dye barrels or the smashers, I would just like,
we wouldn't even think
I never
twice.
Once.
No, because it was like, that's good. We're just running from one thing to the next. We're busy. It's We didn't care.
Yeah, and like now you see all of the Gen Zers are like, I got my avocado toast, and like we didn't even have avocado toast.
Toast. Who's eating toast and vegetables and fruits?
They're like, you eat avocado toast after late night drinking for brunch?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, and we're like,
Taco Bell midnight
at
run? What?
Denny's.
Oh yeah, Denny's. Like, yeah, for sure. What nasty,
Smashing.
greasy food am I eating in the middle of the night? That's it.
Girl, you know what was my guilty pleasure at like 19, 20, 21? It was so bad, but I would still tear it up to this day. The cheesesteak, and not cheesesteak. The cheese stick sandwich at Denny's. Did you?
Oh,
ever have
is
that?
it like the mozzarella cheese?
Yes.
I wouldn't go there often, but that one is good, and I wonder if they still have that on the menu because I feel like it's kind of like a classic.
I heard you can order it. It's not on the menu, but I heard you can order. So
yeah,
catch me and Jackie on spring break going there because I will tear that sandwich
just for nostalgic sake. Like,
oh my God, I loved that. I ate that. When I say way too often, like I didn't eat it probably more than like once.
No, of course,
once a month or once every couple months. Yeah. But like I still ate it. Way too
yeah, more than we should have. And
like
to complement already not healthy diet, plus all the energy drinks and sodas and no water consumption, then surely like we were just like riding on cholesterol, fats.
I will say though, I was not a coffee drinker until after Cali.
Same.
And
mom life.
I didn't do energy drinks. I didn't do any caffeine. Like I would have it in the once in a blue moon that like somebody's like, oh, I'm going to Starbucks, and I would get the frap.
That was same with me. Yeah, just frappuccinos. Like I was such a little like baby. This comes back to our episode the other day where it was like I'm very immature when it comes to stuff like that. Coffee was disgusting. Monsters were disgusting. What is it? The Red Bull? Red Bull is nasty to me. Like when people are like Red Bull and vodka, I'm like, I can't even. I'm like, no, give me the vodka straight. Like Red Bull is nasty. I just can't with it. So I'm just like,
honestly, both vodka and Red Bull are trash. So combining them is like ultimate trash.
So I don't know. Like, well, also I think nothing tasted that good back then. We didn't have tasty energy drinks like we do now. Like now we have like Celsius and what is it, Alani?
Alani, yeah.
So those ones are
way
like
better
tasty.
than a Red Bull.
Yes, yeah. I mean obviously now we're using green tea extract and like to get the B vitamins and stuff. So obviously we're tapping into a little bit of a health market here versus just chemicals.
That's what they say, right?
I'm going off what the can says. Like I'll take it. Like we're not consuming it all the time. It's fine. Everything in moderation. I still feel fine, so it's okay. But it's just funny that like we were full throttle. Like it didn't matter what was on the label. Like people would buy this nasty stuff.
Did you ever look at calories or like, oh my God, I wonder how much sugar's in this frap? I would have never even batted an eye.
No.
Now I do.
Yeah, like $1,000 for, or not $1,000, 1,000 calories for your like little whipped like coffee beverage, and I'm just like, no,
we Jack and I always crack up that we hate that Cheesecake Factory gives you the calories. Like, don't show me that I'm eating 1,400 calories just in my meal.
Especially because we don't eat out that often, right? Like for like especially something like that when you're having like a sit down dinner, we're not doing it every day, so like that is a treat. So then to have that slapped across my face with like, hey, also you're consuming 2,000 calories in this one sitting right now, and it's like, enjoy. And I'm like, oh, are we supposed to feel guilty? Like, trying to make us feel bad to not ever come back here ever again.
Yeah. Like, I know Jason sent me a video the other day of how much sugar in visual form is in the cheesecake, the Oreo one at Cheesecake Factory. I was like, why'd you send that to me? I don't eat the whole cheesecake. I can't. It's too much. I always split it in half, but still, I was mortified. I was like, I don't want to know because I'm going to eat it. So don't even tell me. Because those calories on those meals are like, it's just the meal. It's not the bread and butter you ate before.
So
it's
not if you order a soda or anything on top of that.
No, like, and then the cheesecake, don't even get me started.
No, you literally just used your whole bank of calories for the entire week coming to Cheesecake
100%.
Factory for a full
100%. 100%.
But it's fine. We're happy.
It's all about, life's about balance.
Yes, right? As long as you don't do it every day.
But anyways, circling back, because this is me and Jackie. It's really me. I'm the one that really like just derails the whole conversation.
No, we could have talked about Cheesecake Factory for like a solid hour. There's a lot to discuss.
I mean, when we went on our little like night getaway, our staycation. We went to a nice dinner and we're like, this dessert looks like trash. So
Yeah.
we walked to cheesecake and we literally sat in our hotel bed.
Yeah, and it was the best.
And ate the cheesecake.
We deserved it. We
And
walked.
it was bomb.
So we didn't eat a Cheesecake Factory meal. So we did have the space in our
We walked
bellies.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So
We had the space for the actual Cheesecake Factory cheesecake. So it worked.
yeah. Then we put a chick flick on and we fell asleep.
Yep. We didn't even finish it.
I think I got like 10 minutes.
No, we didn't make it very far. And we even like did the whole scrolling where it was like,
Yeah.
which one looks better? Like we took so much time
we
to
took
find
a
the
while.
best movie and it didn't even matter. Like,
And we're like over here with the itis.
yes. But it was good. That's a good thing.
Okay. Okay, so back to this. So why we love this reel is because he gives these stats, and very me and Jackie fashion, the psychologist comes back and says, well, why do you think that that's lowering?
Yeah. And I loved
he
that
was
he said, is it because Gen Z is so wise? And I loved that.
He was like, do you think it's because they're wise? Or do you think it's because they're staying home in their beds, scrolling and not socializing and having jobs and driving? And he's like, because you got to have a license and be able to drive somewhere, or else somebody's got to take you, or you got to find someone. And so he really like is like, yes, all these things are lowering and they're great. That's great.
Yes.
But the problem is they're lowering because of a negative thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're lowering because they have social anxiety. They're lowering because they have way more depression and anxiety, panic attacks than millennials or any other generation. It's skyrocketed. So yes, those things are going down, but it's stemming from their mental health and this idea that they are socializing, but socializing through their phone and not socializing in person. So that's why things are trending down, because they're not dating. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, their pregnancies are going down because they're not dating. If you're not dating, you're kind of like, and if you have social anxiety, you're also probably not.
Yeah. If you're not getting out of your bed to leave your house, how are you ever going to meet somebody? How are you ever going to underage drink? And how are you ever going to get a job to make money, to buy things, to not be frugal? So I just feel like it all is like a little
It's
spiral.
like a domino.
Yeah, domino effect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just like, oh,
100%. Yeah. So we're very excited to listen to that podcast. And I actually am really intrigued to read the book.
I know. The book
called?
is called, because that's like a good one too. We'll have to add this to our shopping cart so we can read this together. It is called Coddling of the American Mind. So I really love the title.
I already love it.
Getting good vibes just from the title itself.
And I just if you guys will share, I think we'll share it on our stories. The reel.
Oh yeah, that would be really good. So that people could hear what we're getting this from.
Yeah.
Hear the
I
perspective.
really like his vibe too.
Yeah.
Like how he talks. I'm here for it.
Yeah. The way he just unpacked everything is just really nicely done. Very digestible, and he's giving both sides to it. So it's yay, great. Like Gen Z is being healthy, but at what cost? So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how Gen Z grows. Like, will they be able to step out of this? Because that was kind of a statistical thing that millennials our goal was to get our driver's license immediately as soon as we were of age.
Immediately. The day you turned
16 or
you got your
15 and a half, we were running to the DMV.
You got your restricted.
Yeah, we're running to the DMV. It was whatever
100%.
we could do to get that super fast. And then we were getting our jobs, and we
begged. We were so excited to get the job.
Yeah, we wanted that part-time job at a restaurant so we could make cash to then go spend.
Jackie, we actually all wanted it at PacSun or Hollister.
Well, of course, but still, it was tiny paychecks that would get us our social
100%.
life. We were using that for our social life so that we could get out of the house.
Our gas money.
Yeah,
our parents didn't give us gas money.
No, so we were putting gas in the gas tank, driving to go to the movies, driving to the mall, going to football games, going and hanging out with our friends. We were never sitting in our rooms. We were constantly, as soon as we got that first pay by the minute cell phone.
Oh my God.
All of that. We were we're out the door. Let's go live and grow up. So then it was just kind of it's different, because then you go off to college or you get your first job. And then that's where people start to meet their future spouses. Then you all of a sudden have people just it accelerates. You have people getting married. Then the next step is they have their big girl jobs. They've got their houses and they've got their
you've
kids.
done it, right?
Exactly.
You're mature. You've had a job.
Yeah. So you've had a
that's why
couple
I think-
years of this fun dating, working, experiencing life, and then boom, now we're all big girls. So I'm just it's messing up the timeline. So we're starting to see Gen Zs not getting their jobs right away. They're not getting their licenses right away. And obviously we're saying this very there are obviously kids who
it's
are
an umbrella.
Yes,
All
there
right?
are. We know kids that are getting their licenses at
statement.
16, but statistically speaking, which we've seen a lot of stats that
We should look that up, actually.
yeah, like there's a lot of stats that
Driving.
back that up, that like these kids are not doing everything as quickly as we were. So it's just going to be interesting to see, like, as I get into the rest of the Gen Zers approach adulthood, are they going to be getting their jobs? Are they going to be like getting married in their 20s like we did? Are they going to want to like get their like settle down and have kids? Or does this push everything off until they're like in their 30s because they're still sitting at home scrolling on social media, depressed, taking their like mental health days in college because life is hard.
Okay, so I looked it up. So the ages from 16 to 19, only 40% of Gen Z
Okay.
have their 16 to 19, only 40%.
That's really small. Because I feel like I'm trying to think if I knew anybody when we turned 16 or 15 and a half, whatever the ages were. I think everyone was immediately like running to the DMV. Like I don't know anyone
So it's
who's like,
64% in 1995
okay.
and 40% in 2021. And I'm going to guess that number is higher than 2021.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Like that it's getting like smaller and smaller.
Like I
now.
know
Like,
so many people that are in that age range that do not have licenses. And I think I can say one of them being because like they don't listen and it's not a big deal. It's just the fact. Like my brother's girlfriend is his age and doesn't have a license.
So she's early 20s.
She's gonna be 21.
Yeah, and doesn't. Okay. But that I know personally
So
people
she can't
too.
drive herself.
Yeah. So like that
well,
matches.
tell people
Yeah.
how about like what you've told me about what's happening at the military bases.
Oh yeah. So
That's,
we
like,
have a lot
perfect
of yeah.
example.
So usually when you join the military, you have to be 18 to join the military. So then, you go to boot camp.
You have to have a license?
You have to have an ID. You have to have some
an ID.
Yeah. So you
don't
have
have to be
some
able to drive.
sort of so you don't have to be able to drive to get into the military,
Okay.
but you just need an ID, right? Like you have to have some sort of a social security number to get into the military. So we do have like a new uprising now of people that are coming to their first base, like their first assignment after they've graduated from school. So we were a couple months into this. So technically you could still be 18, 19, 20 coming into your first base as the youngins, and they don't have their driver's licenses. So they're staying at their house on base and they're like shooting out messages asking for people for rides or like, hey, is this close enough that I can walk to? And it's like, that's fine. But also like now it's like, you're debilitating for like your own family's sake. So like when
Now you're a grown man in the military.
yeah.
I mean,
And then also like I've seen instances where they're like, well, I can't go get groceries for my family because I don't have a car and I don't have a driver's license. And I'm like, wait a second, like we're doing this backwards. Like you should be able to go and get groceries. Like, and it
you
doesn't
should not be having no kid or spouse.
Yeah. So it's just very interesting that it's like, that we're seeing this whole, like they're going into adulthood still without a driver's license. And they're like, but my mom took me everywhere. And I'm just like, no, like we're grownups. Like we have to go get groceries for ourselves and our families. And we have to be able to take our kids to, the park or the pediatrician or whatever it is. And I'm just like, how are you doing anything right now? Like, how are you living? Like, so it's just kind of wild to see like this is like a whole new kind of like wave that we're seeing. So
yeah. And you said there was like, didn't you say there was like a guy that is like a kind of a designated driver in the base that like drives people that like need it?
Yeah. So we have like a program. It's a fantastic program. It's meant to be in place. It started to be in place for people like alone spouses, where then if you're like, for instance, me, when my husband was deployed, if I needed a ride to the airport and I didn't want to leave my car at the airport, this could be an individual I could reach out to, coordinate with, and they would do like a courtesy to take me to the airport because I didn't have a husband around. Or they could like help me if I couldn't reach a light bulb. They would pop over and help me with like maybe like a manly task that I couldn't do myself. So like it's a really great program that was put in place for like spouses who might be like a little abandoned, like living
now
by
it's
themselves.
being abused.
Yeah.
Probably.
So now it's turned into a thing where I've seen this where now they're being like, hey, I need a ride to the grocery store. And it's like, oh, wait, that's not what this program was. I mean, and they're doing it because these are volunteers. So they're doing it. But I'm like, that's not what this program was put in place for. So they're getting rides to like do errands. And I'm like, no, girl, like get a ride to the DMV. You're going to the wrong place. Like, but then they say like it's stressful or like they're using a lot of like excuses as to why they don't want to get their driver's license.
mental health problem.
Yeah. So it's like very interesting because I'm just like, it's not the cost. What does it cost to get a driver's license these days? Like between $30 and $50, depending on the state that you live in. Like, I don't know. So I just feel like it's very different because I just don't know how this is I'm definitely going to encourage my kids to get their driver's licenses because I don't want them to feel like debilitated by not having that individuality to like go places and do things on their own. Like, so very interesting.
You have to hype them up. You got to be like, oh my gosh, you're almost 15. Like, we can go on your birthday and go get it. And like, this is so exciting. And like, you hype it up. I don't know. My kids are excited to drive. I mean, already.
No, my parents
like,
did for me too. Like my mom, like, I don't know, everything was like a treat where it was just like, then you can go and get like your own food. Like if we give you money, then you can get an opportunity to like, when you go to Blockbuster, you can pick out the movie all by yourself. And I was like, Blockbuster. I was like, what a treat. I get to pick the family movie because I drove. Like,
but do you have the budget for the popcorn and the candy? Because that's a dream.
No, I didn't. Because, well, also it was really expensive at like Blockbuster. It was way more than like how much it would cost you at the grocery store. So it was like, let me make a separate
the
trip
popcorn
over here.
bucket.
Yeah.
That like would just
so
like
good.
It was like at the bottom and would just like
so cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All the
What a dream.
nostalgic
I mean,
things.
I remember like being sometimes in Blockbuster for like 45 minutes looking for the movie.
And it was always disappointing because you would run to go find like the new release and it'd have the cover
and they're all
DVDs in
gone.
front and then like there would be none of them behind it. And I'm like, dang it, we didn't come in time. Like, so
100%.
yeah. And then you'd go to the return thing. You'd ask the front desk person like, hey, are any of these in the return? Can you check? Like,
Can you check
please?
Oh, I love those days.
Yeah.
Those were exciting days. I mean, Alvar and I did that when we were first married.
Yeah.
We would go to Blockbuster. So it was still kind of like I did it as an adult married. So that was kind of fun.
That is fun.
But, well, I think that the military should force, like, you should not be able to go in the military without a license.
I know it's interesting because
I
it's
know-
not a skill.
I know there's-
I did drive a little bit when I was stationed in Florida. It was part of like my like collateral duty to drive and go pick up new boots that would like come in from the airport and stuff because they obviously wouldn't have a car or money to like get an Uber or anything. So I would go pick them up and take them back to base. So I was one that had a driver's license, but I don't remember anyone ever like when they went down the line to give us our jobs where they're like, "Do you have a
don't
driver's
have one."
license? Do you like?" It wasn't
No,
even a
people didn't have
question.
to ask
No,
them.
they just said like, "Okay, like that's your job. That's your job. Okay, go." Like, so it's just wild to think
that,
like. That could be a problem today. Like,
yeah, and I think that in the fire department, like you cannot get on without a driver's
like
license.
you have to drive.
Like you
That's
cannot
someone's
get on
job.
with that. But that's a very good for like the military. I think that's like a very good sign. Like if this kid comes to sign up and doesn't have a driver's license, he's probably not going to be like your like your star.
Oh yeah, that could be like a personality where you can almost identify like
Like
that's a good point.
Maybe he won't have the drive.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gonna be lazy. Maybe he's gonna like I don't know. That's kind of like
It is really interesting because when you join the
It's a red
military,
flag.
you're supposed to. The oath that you're generally giving is that you're willing to make a sacrifice for the good of the nation. So it's interesting.
Like, literally
because it's
die
like,
for the
literally
nation.
put your life on the line to protect our freedom. So it's a really
And they can't
big
drive.
and profound thing that you're giving up.
Yeah.
And so it is very interesting now to think back to like these 18 and 17-year-olds who are signing this oath but don't even want to like get out of their comfort zone to go
And drive to
schedule
the
a
store.
dentist appointment on their own to get their driver's license to like then go do things on their own. So it's very interesting. Yeah. I feel like we're going to see a lot more come out about this. So like just like your example you found with Dax Shepard and this psychologist, like we're going to see way more stats, way more like interviews just cuz like this is coming through right now. Like this is the age group we're seeing. So it's very interesting.
Do you think that it stems from? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it is COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Like my brother's age, he'll be 21 this year. His age group, I want to say, was in there towards the end of their freshman year of high school, and he got stuck at home. I also think it's a little bit of the parents, like, I saw the trend of like, parents just like giving them a car and being like, I'll pay for everything. And like, even when I was like in nursing school, you could kind of see it like start happening. Obviously people were like millennials and whatever, but like you can see the trend happening, right? Like something doesn't just all of a sudden happen. It's a trend where people would be like, 23, 24. And they're like, yeah, I'm just a full-time student and they've never held a job. And you're like, what?
No, I agree with you. I think it's definitely, I feel like personally, COVID, like the lockdown definitely affected people hugely, especially that age group. Like you said,
Social
your brother.
anxiety.
Yes,
for sure.
because it pretty much put them in their homes. They were on Zoom school. They were only communicating with their friends via, social media. So they reclused. Like that totally shut them all down. And I could see that totally being a huge factor as to why they act this way. And then also it's interesting too, because like you said, where it's like a little bit on the parents, because I can think back to like the ones who are parents right now are definitely trying to help their kids more than because they want a better life for them than what we had. So I think we all knew that we needed to go off and get our driver's licenses and jobs because our parents weren't going to hand us this lifestyle if we wanted it. So I think a lot of parents now are like, I don't want that for my kids, so I'm just going to give that to them because I think that it was too hard. So I think it's like a combination of all of what you had said because it's just so different. Like,
yeah. And like you'll hear so many people in our age range now, like, which to me, I mean, maybe I was in a bubble or something, but I never remember growing up or like older people saying this. How many times do you hear now where they're like, I'm building generational wealth?
oh yeah, that is a new thing now. Yes, it's like a new hashtag.
Like, I don't ever like, not that my parents are like, I'm not going to leave you any money or like purposely or like be this like, stingy person. But like, I don't ever remember my parents or my grandparents being like, I wanted to work hard to build generational wealth and all this kind of stuff. And like, I'm not going to say I don't believe in generational wealth because like it's great to like strive for that. But at the same time, like I don't want my kids to just get a handout.
No, of course not.
I want them to build their own generational wealth.
Build success for themselves to have a nice lifestyle if they want that. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. It is
like
different.
I don't want to be like, I don't know if I would be as harsh as like maybe back in the day where you're like, no, at 14, you're forced to have a job and I won't ever buy you anything. Like, I'm not going to be like that. Yeah. But I do want to have a balance of like, no, like you need to work and you have a job and like, and like build your own wealth and build like your income for your family and like not me.
No, because you also want to make them a well-rounded human being by giving them that work to create success for themselves. Because if you just hand them
well-rounded.
Yeah, because if you hand them everything until they've graduated from college, they're going to fall on their face when they get their first big girl job. So it's really scary. Like the world is scary, but you can enable your children to survive and overcome all of these current obstacles. So it's just very like, it's like I'm learning bits and pieces from what the current generation of parents are doing right now. And I'm like, cool, mental note, like really encourage the boys to like get their driver's licenses unless I want them sitting in my house till they're 30. And like the failure to launch, like that is like wild to me. Like this whole like idea that your kids, like I want my kids to feel the sense of security that if something, God forbid, happens to them in their life, that they can always come home to the nest. Like I want them to feel that sense of security, but I also don't want them to feel like they don't have the tools to survive out in the world alone. So I want to like set them up and just be like, here's all the information. It's going to seem real harsh right now, but once you get your driver's license and that part-time job, you're going to feel good and you're going to feel happy and confident and you're going to have like the ability to do well. Like,
of course. Yeah. And having that, like, and I think it's so important for like Gen Z to get the job because it's like, you're forced to communicate. You're forced to socialize. You're forced to like, figure out things and like problem solve. And like, you're going to be forced to do those things that like, they might be very scary for you right now, but like, you just got to do it. I mean,
I didn't want to go to my first job interview. It is nerve wracking. Like, it's not fun. Like, but it's a life skill. Like, got to put on like the business casual outfit, go sit in an awkward,
make a resume.
Yeah. Like fill out the job application and make eye contact with a manager to be like, I really want this job. Like that's part of being a grown up. So it's just kind of like really different and hope for the success of our children.
Like, I know I can hear me and Jackie being like, I just don't know. He just doesn't want
I know. All of a sudden we're going to fast forward to all of our kids being 19-year-olds and none of them have their driver's licenses. And we're like, where did we go wrong?
I think at that point I would pay my kid to get a driver's license.
Oh yeah. Like an incentive. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You can have this $250 gift.
Yes. You want a car? I need to buy you a car. You'll get your
I think that it's wild because I think that this is what I think, at least, is that like reward systems worked for us, meaning like if our parents were like, if you do this, then you'll get this. And we were like, okay.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think Gen Z cares.
No, I worked off the reward system for sure.
Yeah. But I know people that are Gen Z that like guaranteed if they had their license, their parents would like either let them use their car or get them a car. Like they have access to a car full time.
Yep.
And like,
yeah. So the reward system, there's no incentive for them. Well,
Like,
they don't
don't
also,
care.
we've
They're like-
talked about that. And I think he even kind of reflects on that in the podcast or in the interview a little bit, the lack of drive to like get out of bed. Like they don't have that. So therefore, like even dangling the car keys in front of their face is not enough for them to be like, you're right. Let me get my hours in so I can go get my driver's permit or my license.
Yeah.
Like,
which is mind-boggling to me.
I know. For me too. I'm just like, I
But
don't
I
understand.
see it. We've talked about this before a little bit because I actually just asked Jackie this yesterday. I find that it's so scary for me right now at this point of life because I find that I have a preteen that is like really going through that, like finding who he is, and like a big change from like going from elementary to middle school, and like lack of effort, like just lazy, like and I just feel like because I see the current generation, I'm like, that scares me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like no, you cannot be like this. Like, and I have talks with him every day and I feel so bad. But like you need, like if you put the effort, it actually makes it easier. Like I keep trying to tell him all this stuff. And so it scares me so much. And like, I think like, oh my gosh, it's just my kid. And then I asked Jackie and I asked other people from the class and they're like, nope, mine's the same way.
It's generational. I think it's the influence from school. It's the influence from their peers. And then just
technology.
Yeah, technology has made it very easy.
Which we just saw something. Okay, so they were saying that, which makes total sense. So dopamine is like your happy like chemical in your brain, right? So they're like all of these little things, like these games, like I won the game, or you watch the show and like it's a good storyline, or like it's like little rewards, even though you might not see them as rewards, they are, right? Like, or you see, you're scrolling through, TikTok or Instagram, like, oh my gosh, I found such a funny video, I need to send it to this person. Like whether like we think that like really makes us happy, it does. It spikes dopamine. Yep. So when you're doing that all the time, right? Like playing video games, watching TV, social media, and you're just spiking that dopamine like that. When you are not doing that now, because now your body is starting to create less dopamine for like your status quo, your
like normal, like
you're normal, right? So now when you drop below, you're not used to this dip, and now you want more. You want to scroll more. You want to, and so we've gotten in this habit of doing that, and so I'm like, I think whether we like to admit it or not, like all of our kids are like that. Like,
yes. And they say it's quick too. It's made them less patient because of that as well.
Yeah,
the dopamine hit is so much faster when it comes to like the example you mentioned about like scrolling on TikTok or something. The video is so fast. They don't have the patience for anything else. So a dopamine weight on something that's going to truly give them happiness outside of technology is not as much of a high. Like it's not there as much, and we don't see it as often. So it's like they're not getting
and Gen
happiness.
Z's the first one that has the like technology like for their whole life at their hands.
Oh yeah. Because
first
like
ones.
we didn't get it until later. So like we didn't get the dopamine
I
hit
mean,
from technology
we,
until
like-
later. Like
We had to hope that our mom let us go on the computer and like she wasn't on the phone, and we actually got the free trial disc from Juno, and we had internet, and like
it was so
good.
Yeah, the dopamine hit from that was so good though. So slow, but we had to wait, and it was worth it. Yeah.
And I think like we played video games growing up very sparingly, and like my mom never had to be like, oh my gosh, you guys been playing too long, get off.
No,
my mom
didn't.
never had to tell me that.
I also think like it matched our stage too. Cause think of like TV. Like we only had then like our one primetime show that we had to watch each week. We'd have commercials and it lasted 30 minutes and we were out. Like boom, turn off the TV. It's infomercials. Everything else is garbage. So like, and we played outside because there wasn't anything else to do. Not everyone had a PlayStation or a Game Boy. Not everyone had cable TV. We obviously didn't have cell phones. So we were like, what else can we do for fun? Like, I'm just going to go play tag in the middle of the street because we're going to go play with sticks. Like we're living in like 100%. The olden days.
We watched the raindrop.
Yeah. Like a Hilary Duff music video.
Get bigger.
Like racing across the window.
As it keeps sucking the next raindrop up.
So it's just like, it's very different. But we're like the back
so they're
end
the first
of that.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's only going to get scarier. Yeah. I just saw a reel. I sent it to Jason. I was like, nope, I don't like this. Like, I am not into it. Like, they just need to go away. Like, all these, like, they're making the robots, like, move human-like and stuff. And I'm like, nope.
Dang. So it's like that. What's that movie with Will Smith?
iRobot.
Yeah.
right? Not iRobot. iRobot?
I think it is that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
right?
just even
iRobot.
more like that's like coming to life now. Like,
And like AI is like scary because like it can kind of think for itself. So it's like, what makes you think that this robot is not just gonna like think for itself?
yep. It's a wild world. Yeah, you got to watch all those new movies now. There's like 2 AI people movies now. The one with Megan Fox and then the other one that just came out recently. And they both are like AI bot humans.
You've seen them?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just because I love like I feel like it's just so interesting. Yeah. They're not like cinematic masterpieces, but they're like worth checking out. Like they have both of them have famous casts. Like you'll see them. They're both like recently have come
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And then also it takes away jobs. It's like, why are we making things to just like remove, like if you have these robots that can be like fully functional, like human, like move like us, like why would you hire a real person?
Right.
You know?
No, for sure.
Like, why would you hire a real person? Like, and I understand it's cheaper, but like then you people don't realize it's like a domino effect where like now you've ruined the economy, and then nobody's going to buy anything from you anyways because like nobody has money to buy anything. So it's like, it might seem appealing, but it's not.
No,
like,
I agree. I don't know if this is because we're millennials and it's like we're having like an old fashioned way of thinking where it's like, oh, we didn't have mobile devices. Like, therefore I want like the real people experience and not the AI experience. But I traditionally prefer people. And I don't know if that's because I'm a millennial.
Worse when you call and it's like,
I don't want to go through an automated response. I don't like the self-checkout at Walmart and Target. I don't think it's efficient. I mean, obviously, if you're only grabbing a couple things, then yes, 100%. Swipe and go, like, let's do it. But, like, as far as everything being turned into that or, like, removing sit-down restaurants, you know, to, like, take away the customer, like, service aspect, like, it's too much. Like, let robots be on, like, the car building line to, like, mechanically build things for us. But, like, the other fact, like everything else should be like the human experience and like keep us in it. Like, so it's very just.
Do you remember when, I want to say like maybe 10 years ago, maybe even starting 15 years ago, remember when it was like going to be this huge shift where there were going to be like tables that you order and you can like split cards. Like,
on the table.
Yeah. Do you remember when they kept talking about that? Like, oh my gosh, like we're not going to have servers anymore. Like we're going to have to order our own food. Like, do you even tip anymore? Like it was this big discussion that like all these places were going to end up putting these tables in. And like,
no, because they're expensive. Everyone realized they couldn't afford it.
It never happened. I was like, what? I was kind of not excited for it, but it was nice if like, you know, it would be nice for the occasional, like,
of course,
cool, restaurant to
like
do
a
that,
nice
right? Like,
downtown hip place that you could go and like fun.
And you could like put your card down and swipe what you ordered to it, like that kind of stuff's kind of cool, right? But like as a whole, for every restaurant where like you don't have a server, like no, I'm not here for that.
No.
Like one of my favorite things is like having a good server.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's an experience.
Like,
it matches.
I love bantering with them. I love asking them. I love when they're honest and their own restaurant. They're like, this is trash. Don't order it. Like, I love that.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's just part of the experience, right? And then like they bring you stuff and then it feels like, you know, they can, like you said, tell you a recommendation or not. And then also like when something's not quite right, like, and which is not anyone's fault, but they are the ones that are going to want to help to rectify the situation so that you can still have a good experience. If this is all taken over, you know, like a digital experience, like the quality of what comes out, no one's checking that. So like machines make mistakes too. So it's just like, I just feel like we're going to lose a bit here. And it's going to be like quality over quantity. Like, what are we choosing here? Like to save money and pump out a bunch of stuff super quickly to switch to the more tech side of things to remove humans from the equation. But it's like, at what cost? Like
social anxiety will go through the roof at that point then. Like if you have no social interactions.
Yeah. I mean, what would be left though? I think doctors and dentists and lawyers, right?
They're going to create what's his name? It starts with a B. Bano.
What is it from?
What's the big white guy?
From Wall-E?
Bano? Not Bano. What's his name?
Oh, from Big Hero 6?
Yeah.
Oh, where that's right. He does health stuff. That's right. I don't know.
Yeah, he like scans you.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah. So I guess we could just do healthcare like that. So then definitely if we're not even getting social interaction from the dentist or the doctor or like a lawyer, I guess we're
the
certainly
robot's going to come in and be like, no worries. I will do the x-ray right now. Yeah. And it's like, it pulls out like a little camera and it's like,
yeah. So I guess we're not going to have any, like we're all just going to be mute, have no social skills. But then at that point, like, I mean, I don't think we'll be alive.
We're Wall-E.
Yeah, we're Wall-E. Like, there's nothing worth living for at that point because
We're
we're
just
just
on our
sitting in
chairs.
chairs. Yeah, but what are we doing? Like, we're certainly living on other planets by that point because there's nothing left.
How do
here.
you make money?
Yeah, exactly. There's no point in living. Like, why would you even like have kids or like have a job? Like, the job's worthless. I don't know what we're doing. Like,
Yeah, it's going to take a long time to get to that, but it could end up getting to
Wall-E is real life. It's a documentary. Like, I'm pretty sure it's based off of future stories. Like,
So what year is Wall-E, are we guessing?
okay, so there's movies that always say like 2000, like the early 2000 teens. We were
They're
supposed to have like flying
2050,
cars.
and we're like, whoa,
yeah.
whoa, whoa,
So like
no.
we still don't have
That's too
flying cars.
close.
So none of these movies have been accurate so far.
No.
With their like futuristic portrayals. So I'm gonna say like we're probably like a good 100 years out from like all of that, from Full Throttle like Wall-E. Like I don't think like we don't have flying cars.
We have to leave the planet on a ship.
Yeah, like there's nothing here. Like we still have jobs. We still rely on farming. We're still walking around like doing things with our hands. Our cars still stay on the ground. Like I just don't know how we're all of a sudden going to switch like in the
We're
next
not like
10 years.
silos yet.
Yeah, we're not in a silo, which is a really good show if you haven't watched.
Wait, have you watched? We're gonna end the podcast because we're like holding our listeners hostage right now. But Running Point, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Great show. Like if you like a Ted Lasso, Firefly Lane, like a short, quick, like nothing's like super serious, and you can just watch it lighthearted. Great show.
And I love
So just,
Kate
like-
Hudson too. She's just
Yeah,
amazing.
so then you'll love it.
Yeah.
Running Point, great one.
Yeah.
Because that's like our show that I feel like we watched it in like 3 days.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep.
Yeah. Because it was just one of those like you just bing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it's 9 or 10 episodes. So if you knock out 3 episodes a day, you're done. But anyways, well, we came into this day of like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And we did great.
Yeah, so
We did
definitely
great.
follow, like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts too. Like, is Gen Z lost, or can we save them? Like, is this going to be okay? And also, when do you think we're going to be Wall-E world? Like, that we're going to be like off in our spaceship trying to go away from Earth because it's no longer habitable. But check us out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon. And please rate us, subscribe. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Bye.
And we'll chat next week. Bye.